Hello. Hello to everyone. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Adelina Sky, and I am all about hypnosis, past life, healing. And today I am so happy to introduce you, astrologer Crystal Karina. Hi, dear. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me back. I'm excited to talk about Lilith today, so looking forward to this talk.
Okay, let's jump. What you prepare for us?
Awesome. So, I actually prepared a chart of a famous star, and you'll meet her pretty soon. And we're going to be talking about Lilith in a more of a neutral degree, not necessarily one of the harder degrees that we've been discussing, and also remedies for Lilith. So, let's jump on that. One second. There we go.
Wow. You can see the Lilith right away.
Yes. And even like you mentioned, this is why I chose this picture of her because this is Thalia. She's a Mexican actress and singer, and she actually is known worldwide. So she's international, but she started in Mexico. And the reason I chose this picture is because we're focusing on her Lilith and Libra. And when you see this picture, it's so like divine Libra energy, right? Like you look at it, but then there's something very sexy about it. And that's when you see Black Moon Lilith. And she happens to have Lilith in the sign of Libra. So she's combining the energy of Venus through her darker expression of femininity. So before I get started with Lilith, I just, in a nutshell, I've actually done a couple other talks on Lilith. So I'll try to link them so you guys can have access to that. But I really love Lilith's mythology, and I want to take it further than what people, just kind of food for thought, what people talk about right now. So Lilith was the first wife of Adam. And when it came to procreating and creating life, Adam wanted Lilith to be on the bottom, and Lilith refused because they were both made from earth. So Lilith continued to say that they were equal. And Adam disagreed. Adam also petitioned God, or the higher energy, whatever source, which that's where I start disagreeing in this story, because I don't feel that a loving source would put the divine feminine down this way. Because even then, source said, no, you're not equal to a man. And there's many ways how men and women are different, yet how we're the same. And we're never going to be equal, like toe to toe. Like we don't have the same strength as men. And I understand that. It's not about that. It's more about an energetic respect for me versus like, oh, I'm stronger than you, I can lift more than you. That's like irrelevant. I wouldn't want to either way. I'm a woman and I embrace that. So Lilith went on to stand in her power and say, no, I'm not changing my perspective. I am divine woman and I am equal to you. So she was casted away. Now, with that story said, we then have the creation of Eve. And Eve is a creation that man made for us. So they want women to be more, that perfect wife, that perfect, beautiful looking wife, trophy wife. But then when they take this woman home, they also want her to be this like sexual satisfying being. But that's not how they created Eve. They created Eve to take her to mother and say, oh, look at this good wife that I found. She's so good and innocent. She cooks. She's beautiful. But that's not what they need sexually. More intimately, they need someone that they connect with. And Eve wasn't designed for that. So this is where we're at now, because years and years of conditioning that we have to hide this very passionate sexual side of ourselves. This is where Lilith comes about and brings awareness to us. It's about incorporating this energy. If we let her thirst get too out of control, then you'll also see imbalances. You'll see addictions, sexual addictions. But if you are able to balance her energy, there's nothing wrong with looking sexy, respecting yourself, and still wanting that deep, intimate, passionate desire to mate with your partner, whatever that is, whoever that is. So, in a nutshell, that's why I believe that with Lilith, we need to be very aware and empower her point, because even then, when she cast it away, I feel that she should have stood in her ground and said, no, we are equal, and been able to come to a compromise, but that didn't happen. So now we have to take control, and we have to make this compromise for her. We have to show our own power and stand in our right. And I really feel, since women have been empowered, I mean, in the last century or so, like a little bit more than that, we've been given position. Before, this was a man's world. It still is, but we're seeing more women step into power, and this is why we need to embrace Lilith. So that was my little tangent on Lilith. You guys could get all into that and explore and get your downloads on what you feel this femininity represents to you. In my chart, I have Venus conjunct Lilith. So I really resonate with her passion. I've also seen the darker side of Lilith expressed through me in childhood, so I can see how it can be out of control when it gets suppressed. So it's all about controlling her and really embracing the gifts that she brings. But anywhere where we have Lilith in our chart, we usually have an injury with that Lilith. And with this chart, we're looking at Lilith in Libra in the 8th house. So this could bring us back to past lives in which she was still in a Venusian role. However, maybe she was not making money through it. I kind of imagine her like a belly dancer, being part of the king's court and entertaining the king, but she's not making her own money. She's still considered a slave of the king. Something like that, where she had all these magical powers and seductress powers, but she was not independent, especially because she has a lot of Virgo energy. That's another reason. Virgos tend to be the laborers, right? They rule the daily routines in the 6th house of work. So Virgo energy loves to work. So you can see that in past lives, she could have worked like through, lives like this, like positions like this, where she was entertaining the king. Now, one thing that's interesting in her chart, she has Venus conjunct the sun. She also has Mercury conjunct Venus and the sun. So she has 2 Kazimis going on here. They're not exact, but we can say, this is very unique. You don't find a lot of people with this combination in their chart. It's in the 7th house of Venus, because the 7th house is ruled by Libra. So even though it's a Virgo expression for her, Venus is starting to get some strength. So when I saw her chart, this is why I thought this was the perfect chart. We're focusing on Lilith, but I still want to bring other things in so you can see how her integrating, because we're talking about remedies, how she's remedying some of the challenges in her chart. And one of them being Venus and Virgo. Now, Venus and Virgo is said to be the detriment of Venus. Actually, it's the fall. I apologize. It's the fall of Venus. And a lot of people freak out. Oh, because I have Venus and Virgo, I'm not pretty. There's a lot of celebrities that have Venus and Virgo. They seek perfection in their beauty. But because in her chart, she has Venus conjunct the sun, she gets assistance through the sun, because it's a Kazemi point. And then she also gets assistance with Mercury, because Mercury rules Virgo. So as you can tell, she's very beautiful. There's nothing ugly about her. Right? So don't let challenging placements give you a misconception that they won't show up as beauty in your chart or as positive in your chart, because there's always a way to find remedies for them. And Venus in the seventh house would be a remedy because that's a natural house that Venus rules. She was also a great negotiator. She negotiated her contracts and she got great roles. She went into acting, and I mean, she did so many soap operas. She also sang in most of her soap operas, the theme song. So that independently made a lot of money for her. She got record deals, and it's all through that seventh house of negotiating. And then we can't ignore Pluto. Pluto is there giving her power. I mean, come on. Like Pluto in the seventh house, you can just see a very powerful expression. So she did come in this lifetime to express this power that she has, that maybe she was disempowered in other lifetimes.
Can I ask you that Pluto in the seventh, that's possible what it can bring powerful partners?
Yes. Yes. Pluto in the seven brings a very powerful partner. Very. And Pluto in the seventh, or even because it's a Virgo, it could be a partner that they can find through the work that they're doing. That's actually what happened with her. So very true to her chart. So this is how you know remedies are working. Now, Lilith in the 15th degree. The 15th degree is connected to the sign of Gemini, according to Nikola's work. So in the sign of Libra and in the degree of Gemini, Lilith is going to be best expressed by communicating, but this is more of a song. Libra rules music. And then you have the Gemini energy, which is speech. So through her music, she's remedying her Lilith. And this is when her sexiness came out, as she was being placed in more roles and singing. And she started her career in a partnership. It was actually a huge partnership. So she didn't have a solo act. There was it was called Timberiche. So it was a group of singers, and everyone would take turns singing. So she was found that way, and that's how she shines in partnership. So it would have been a little different if she was solo. She might have not had that great success because she needed a platform to shine. So she thrives through having a lot of people to do things together with, and then she outshines them. That's basically what happens, and that's how she thrives. Now, she has Uranus really close to her Lilith, so that's another planet that can be a remedy for her, and that is being different. I mean, when I was growing up in the 90s, I was like 10, 12 years old, and like throughout that time, like was my teenage years, and she was like, whoa, like, dude, can you believe she wore that? Wow. Like, like she was the talk of the town. We were like really surprised on how she was so eccentric and unique. And she really did not have a childhood. And that's because she decided to act, but it wasn't because they made her. She then tapped into her Aries archetype, which is the other remedy point of her natal Lilith placement. And she pursued acting. She played a lot of helpless, save me princesses. And interesting enough, I actually just, this just clicked right now. She played poor Cinderella roles. And she is a Virgo sign, which is the sign of work. So in all her soap operas, she was working for very little money, like enslaved. But then Prince Charming comes along.
Yeah, I need a hero.
Yes, a hero comes along, and with money and status. But then he falls in love with her too because she's so beautiful, right? She's so sexy, even though she has she doesn't have nice clothes and it's all torn, because she's so magnetic and angelic and beautiful. they fall in love with her. So those are the roles she played, and she made a really good career out of playing those roles. But I really do feel another factor that played in her search to find a more mature older man is the fact that she did have a very good relationship with her father, and he passed away when she was 5. And she tells the story that when she was 5, she went to the hospital. Her dad had tubes all on him. Remember, her parents were older than her, like way older when they had her. And the mom told her, give your daddy a kiss, he'll get better. And she did. And then after that, minutes later, everyone rushes in, the doctors, and he passes away. So she's always carried responsibility. And I think with that, carrying the responsibility, she's also searching for that mature man in her life, like a daddy. Which, I mean,
Missing link.
but I mean, if that's her taste, that's her taste. But I feel that that's some karma attached to it. The reason why she's looking for such a mature person is because they're, reminds her of the stability that she had when she was young, and thinking, oh, if I have a very stable father, or a husband, he'll be a good father, or a good husband, etc. And her father was very educated. He was a scientist in Mexico.
Can I ask you, I don't know if it's a dumb question. So that Black Lilith make any aspect to MC?
Yes, it does. It makes the sextile, which is a talent aspect. Sextile to your MC. Venus rules the sextile, and that is a talent aspect. You have to do something with it. So that means you have a talent. What are you going to do with it? Do you act on it? Do you not? And through her sex appeal, and again, uniqueness, because she has Lilith and Uranus together. It wasn't just being sexy. It's like, be individual, be your own self, be rebellious, right? And that also ties in the Mars archetype on the opposite side for Aries. And that's where she had to kind of do some healing, because she had a Chiron there. So she has a deep wound in being individual, in being pioneering. And she had to heal that so she can really master it. So she said that she wouldn't have been able to heal this if her mom wouldn't have continued to encourage her. And her mom would give her choices, just like that axis, the Aries Libra axis. She would tell her, do you want to still continue pursuing actress, or we can drop all of this and you can become an attorney, or you can become a psychologist, whatever you want. You don't have to do this. And she would say, no, this is what I want to do. So through that partnership, she would, tap into that Lilith aspect and heal through Chiron and continue to do her work. And Chiron makes a trine to her MC. So this is also healing her in some way. And it's funny because it's in the second house of money, Chiron in the second house of money, in a degree that's ruled by Aries. So through her own efforts, through her own battle, through her own actions, she attained what she really wanted to attain.
You have to really know and feel the energy of all the chart to, especially when you talk about the remedy, you really have to know all the chart.
Yeah, yes, but I can give you some remedies with her that are action. Remember, remedies can be in all forms. It could be a remedy that you carry, like an example. I have a crystal right now. That could be considered a type of remedy. Actually, crystals were like the number one remedies in the olden days. Like, that's what they use. Like the key, that's why there's crystals on the king's crown, and they would wear jewelry because there were remedies. Either way, you can have remedies that way. You can have remedies in your home. You can have remedies in your vehicle, right?
I use your remedy.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you told me to cut that, and before we start make video, it's work.
Yes.
It's help to that for self-confidence, because that's not easy for me to be on the camera. So anyway, but that's working. Thank you.
Yes. So, like that, something simple as that, putting a sticker on your computer where you do your Zoom, little things like that can be remedies. And it's just really tapping into the archetypes. So, for her, she did a lot of remedies through the actions she took, but I'm sure her dressing like this is also a remedy for her, right?
Hmm.
Because she could have been dressed like a nun right now. And that would have not made her Lilith happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So really looking at I want to change the perspective on how people think of remedies. It shouldn't just be like a cup or a crystal. It should really be a lifestyle that you have. So like that you can really embody it. So crystals that she could probably benefit from, definitely all the crystals connected to Venus. So that's going to be an emerald, rose quartz. I wouldn't be surprised if her wedding ring has an emerald. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of celebrities are changing. Sorry, they're no longer using diamonds because diamond is a remedy, but that's why we would use a diamond ring, right? To unify the marriage. But there's other stones that are better for individual marriages, based on your energy and the other person's energy. Diamond is a rock that's connected to Venus and Saturn. So that's the reason why they would prefer it to use in marriages, because Saturn is very important in a union. Saturn brings longevity. A lot of marriages now don't last because they don't have a good Saturn and they can't get through the hump. Then they partner with another person and maybe it's worse or better, depends. And they're like, wow, I'm the same battle with this person now, but you could have healed it by doing the work, right? What is it? Like, did you guys need therapy? Did you guys need time? Like, what was it that you needed to mature? So Saturn brings those tough lessons. So if you have a good Saturn in your chart, and then you have a good Venus, that means the love will last long. And
Yes.
Saturn
Eh,
actually is the surrogate father of Venus. So it was through the love that Saturn had for his mother that he did what his mother asked of him. And it was also the love that he had for his father that he did not kill him. And then he created love. And this is another reason why Saturn is very important in marriages. I know I'm going off topic, but it's like
oh,
really
but it's so interesting. I love it. All that mythology, and I love it. Thank you for sharing all that. Very interesting.
Another remedy for her Lilith would be singing, because Lilith in the sign of Libra needs to talk, but it's in 13 degree of Gemini. So it needs to sweet talk, flirt, sing, and that's exactly what her personality is. So that's another remedy for Lilith, her personal Lilith. Anyone that would have a 15 degree Lilith, no matter where it's at, because that would be too general, I would just go by doing remedies of crystals. But if I can see your chart and I can see the aspects that it makes and what it's doing, I can give you a lot of remedies, because I'm going to be able to go in there, not just remedy through degree. I'm going to remedy degree, aspects, house placement, anything like just say mutual receptions, whatever. Like I'll just do it all personalized to you. So that's why it's a little bit harder to say that all these remedies will apply to a 15 degree Lilith, but it's possible. So for her, this is how it played out. So if you happen to have Lilith in the 8th house and it's not in Libra, then through you expressing your sexuality and really learning to master your sexuality, that is the remedy for Lilith. So getting to know that darker side of yourself. So that's a remedy for Lilith if you have it in the 8th house. It's also good to work on traumas. So Lilith in the 8th house brings a lot of traumas, I'm not gonna lie, to your awareness. So that's a good thing though, because it brings them to your awareness. There's people that have traumas and they're not aware that they have them.
So based on that chart, so she did use that remedies to really benefit her Lilith.
I'm sure that she has an astrologer. She's talked about past lives and reincarnation, and she believes her current husband is her twin flame, and she's a Pisces rising. I mean, come on. Pisces believe in all this stuff. So there's just like absolutely no way. She also has placements in all the karmic houses. So I'm sure that she's sought a lot of probably psychics, astrologers, energy healers. I'm sure she's been in all of it. And that's how she's been remedying her chart, not just her Lilith.
Mhm.
And that's how she healed her Chiron. But when you hear her speak, you can see there's something soft about her, something very kind and sweet about her. That she gives you a different perception, that she's not this sexy. And you look at her and you're like, whoa, how could that persona be part of this person speaking? And I really think it's this Chiron opposing Lilith, where she still has like a thing like I'm 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 injured, like I'm a injured butterfly.
Yeah, and
Um,
especially if it's a Pisces ascendant, they are very spiritual. So, can I ask you, would you like it to do some another video about Black Lilith, but more kind of like more drastic chart?
sure, we're gonna do another video with a more challenging Black Moon Lilith. I
Yeah.
think Black Moon Lilith, wherever it's at, it's going to be challenging, but some women can express it easier when it's not as challenging than others. And this is a good example of someone that had some challenges, but still was able to use her Lilith positively to impact her career, to
Mm-hmm.
impact her love life, to make a life that she's made. One of the things that she said before, she's always felt like her life was just, it just like was served on a platter for her, and she just took it. And she's like, I've always felt like I had an angel with me. So, funny enough, Saturn sits right next to Archangel Michael. So, angelic presence. Yeah. So she's always felt like, she's been guided by other realms, which is very
Mm-hmm.
interesting too, with that North Node and Mars in the 12th house of other realms. So, yeah. Yeah, interesting. She has a very interesting chart, interesting career. She is in her 50s, and I think currently she's remaking some of these looks. So I think this was when she was 25 or in her 20s, and Vogue just remade some of her looks. So I'll post them out after the video.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can see the remake. It's very interesting because she looks almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, same.
Yeah. Uh, I would love to have some another video. Let me know when you're ready for another Black Lilith. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dali, for all the interesting info. It's just like so interesting.
Thank you. I
Thank you
really
so
enjoyed.
much. It was very like I always learn so much with you. Thank you so much, darling. Hope to see you soon.
Yes, thank you. Bye, everyone.